Hi guys, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Steven Spielberg's very first movie, a TV movie, Duel. And what we're going to be discussing and breaking down is the story arc. Not the story arc of the entire film itself, which is the beginning, middle, the rising action, and the climax. Not only that, but guess what? What makes that up are little tiny story arcs, little tiny rising actions throughout the whole thing that builds up the whole movie. And so it's not just one, but it's many, many of these that are put together to build an entire story. And if you don't know the movie Duel, what the movie Duel is about this driver. He's probably a salesman of some kind. Passes by a truck, and this truck driver has a bit of road rage. We don't really see much of him, and he kind of chases him down. And there's a little back and forth between them, and in the end, the truck driver, I'm going to spoil it for you, just skip the next 10 seconds if you don't want to know. The truck driver runs the car off the road and crashes, but David Mann has jumped out of the car ahead of time and nearly escapes. So that's the beginning of Duel. Now, the first tension arc or story arc of the movie is at the very beginning of the movie, within the first 10 minutes. Now, it's the first act, so what it is, the tension arc is shallower. There's less at stake here. We don't know that the truck driver isn't trying to kill Mann yet. It's shallower, and then also what it happens is it's spaced out. So the next tension arc doesn't happen until a minute or a second or like 45 seconds later. There's some breathing room built into this. So we're going to be breaking down how that works, and you got to do it the right way. You can't just throw in some breathing room of people being bored. You don't want to bore your audience. That's the great thing about tension, is it hooks your audience. You can't just give them tension all the time, otherwise they'll get sick of it. And so what happens is David Mann is driving his car, and he comes up to this truck and is spewing pollution on him. He's getting coughing, and so he decides to pass it. And before he passes it, I think there's two ways that you can be watching this movie. You can be seeing the trailer so you know what's going on and what's going to happen, or not. And either way, this works. This moment works. The camera's looking at David as he's driving, and then we go past David, and we go and we watch all of the truck, and we're seeing all of the truck. We're seeing this massive vehicle. It's almost like we're being introduced to the villain of the movie. We don't know it's a villain yet, and it's just this massive car. And so we go past all of it, and we see the grill of the car, and we see that it's really big. And so we're seeing the obstacle of this moment. And all this obstacle is he needs to pass this truck. And so he passes the truck, and then there's a few seconds where what happens is we don't see the truck behind him at first. So it's almost like he's past the truck, there's nothing more to it, and he's through the back window, we don't see the truck. But then the camera angles and changes angle ever so slightly, so we see the truck in the background. So he's still a problem, and David isn't paying attention to him. So there's a little bit of tension going on there. And so what happens is David is not, and then we cut to different angles where it's just seeing David, and we're not seeing behind him, so we don't know what the truck is doing, but we have an inkling that the truck is still there. And so we're getting all these feelings, and then what happens is David, what he does is he does this motion, and it's not accidental. He does a motion like this, and he over the window, so it draws your attention to the motion and where the motion is happening, which is right where the truck is going to be. Now, if you look at the shot and you look at the angle, there's not much else to pay attention to besides that blank space at the window. But audiences will find a way, I think Spielberg was thinking. And so he wanted to give them this place to look at this blank window, because otherwise they'd probably be looking at David's face. And so he draws our attention to that, and then the truck zooms past them, and it kind of startles David. And so that's what goes on there. And then David again passes him. So now we move past the first arc of it, and we're going into different arcs of it, and seconds have passed. And I just wanted to, after he passes him for a second time, I wanted to mention this really cool shot. We're zoomed in. We're inside the cab of David's car, and we're zoomed in on the side mirror, and we're seeing the truck there. And the truck blares his horn, which is startling to David. But we wanted to know where that horn came from, and so we had to see the truck there. And then we zoom out, and we get to see David's reaction in the same shot, which I just think is a great way to combine moments into something that works together. And then what happens is we are given angles where we can clearly see that the truck isn't there. A wide angle of the car, so it's not that we're looking in a different direction and the truck might scare us this time. We're looking at different angles so that we clearly see the truck is no longer in the picture. And with the truck no longer in the picture, guess what that means? That there's the breathing room that we were talking about. It's about 45 seconds of breathing room, but what happens here is it gives a moment for us to be with the character and listen to the radio program that's been established earlier. He's listening to the radio, and he reacts to somebody playing meat as a musical instrument, which is kind of weird, and so the audience might be paying attention to it, and he kind of says, "Oh, sick! What a sick guy that does that! You're a sick guy. You're sick." And that's the breathing room. The tension has been released, but we're still interested and engaged with the story because something unusual and odd is happening in the story, or we're hearing about it and we're reacting to it with the main character. Now, talking about a story arc, we would be remiss to miss and not talk about the climax of the movie itself. And that is it's a confrontation between the truck driver and David, and they're going up this hill. And after they go up the hill, then they go down the hill, and then David has his moment where he jumps out of the car and the truck can't see what David did and runs off of a cliff. What it is how they build this tension that lasts. So if you built it too earlier in the beginning of the first act and let it last for longer and longer periods of time, that would burn out the audience, and they wouldn't be able to receive a climax tension that happens later. And so the climax happens, and the tension goes with it, lasts for minutes, not just 2 minutes, like 10 minutes. And so this whole climax moment of the truck coming after him, going up the hill, and things are going on, the problems that are having, lasts for a long time. And even when he gets up the hill, the tension isn't released very much. The truck is coming. But I want to take a moment to talk about the tools that Spielberg uses create tension in the moment. He cuts to lots of close-ups of like, this could go wrong, we're not going fast enough. So lots of little close-ups. So we're cutting a lot, and we're cutting to close-ups of tension, which means tension is also being built. And then also, one of the close-ups is David Mann himself, and we're looking right at his face. We're right up in his face, and I think we're at a wide angle, so because it feels kind of stretched, and we're right up in his face. It feels uncomfortably close to his face, just like the truck is coming up from behind him. It's almost like the truck is dangerous, is coming closer and pressing on him, and so that's what happens with the tension. It feels like he's right there on him. And so that is the tension of the movie. That is the climax of the movie. And you have to notice how if you're making a movie, you need tension throughout the movie, and you need to space out that tension at the beginning and have it be shallower tension and shorter tensions throughout the beginning. And then when it becomes later, it's really the really big key is to have them shorter. And when it's later, to have them longer, and to have them with higher stakes. So in Duel, we learn through the course of the movie that the truck driver is trying to kill David, and that wasn't the case at the beginning. The truck driver wasn't that upset with him, and so he wasn't going to kill him at the beginning. But then at the end, the stakes have risen up to that level where death and life is on the line. So that is the story Duel. I hope you kind of took some interest in it. And you got to think about it as a director. What I want you to take away from this is I want you to think about creating those story arcs, and those small story arcs within 1 or 2 minutes of each other. You can do it within a shot. You can do it with a camera move, a dolly in. For example, a dolly in is a good way. An example: you dolly in the rising tension. You come to a slow stop. That's the climax, and then you answer the climax with a resolution, like he says something. That's a realization. And so that is how a shot in itself can be a tension block, a story arc. And so I hope you took away from that, but you got to think about how it works local and then also global, like how it works over the entire film. I hope that helps you get interested in film, learn about film and how to direct and how to look at things in your own way and for your own stories. And thanks for watching with us. If you're interested, please like and subscribe. We're gonna have some other great videos coming out on directing. I'm gonna direct some shorts and show you how you can direct things on your own, and go over some techniques of directing. And thanks everyone. Thanks for watching.